Hi everyone, welcome back to Novel Nomad and welcome back to Top 5 Wednesday. Today's topic is going to be favourite female and female relationships or couples. This is not going to be limited to lesbian couples but also to trans, bi, ace and pan women. And I was quite surprised because I didn't really have that great a reading diversity of female relationships, and I was quite disappointed. Like, I have a lot of really good female friends, and there's been characters who are lesbian or who are bi, female bi, but they've never really had that kind of relationship with another woman. So if you have any recommendations for me, please let me know down below. I clearly need to increase my diversity in ladies loving lady couples. But with the ones that I have read and a few that I have on my shelves and really want to get to, here are the top 5. So number 1 is going to be Carol by Patricia Highsmith. This was originally called Price of Salt, and it is set in the 1950s in America, specifically New York, and a young girl called Therese actually becomes infatuated with an older woman who is a mother who comes into the department store where she works at to buy toys for her son. And Carol, who is the mother, returns this affection, and it is wonderful to see their relationship develop and bloom, but it's also great to see it fall from that immediate quick infatuation and mutual attraction into something more lasting. So I thoroughly enjoyed this read. I know it wasn't everyone's favourite, but I think it had a really interesting approach to female relationships, and it didn't shy away from anything it may, and also to be writing in the time when Patricia Highsmith wrote this book, it was wonderful representation. Next we have A Portable Shelter by Kirsty Logan. This is the beautiful shiny hardcover edition that I snapped up very quickly. But this one is an amazing read just because it is little stories that are told to a baby who's growing in a womb, and the couple, lesbian couple who are expecting a baby. They tell these stories to the baby and they relate history and emotion and drama to the little one that's expected. So Ruth and Liska are really wonderful couple, just to have that connection with their child. I thought this was really beautifully done. Next is going to be The Paradox by Charlie Fletcher. This is a very intense and very in-depth fantasy book. It's set during Victorian England, I believe, probably, I'd say 1860s, 1870s, around there, and the oversight are a society or a group of society that is the guards against the unnatural paranormal world and the real world, and they prevent all these creatures from getting out of hand. And the oversight themselves are 5 guardians who are there to protect, and there has to be 5 to make up the hand. And there's a character who is discovered in the first book, and she becomes a lot more vocal and gains a lot more personality because she is so traumatized in the first book. And her memories are wiped in a way through paranormal means, that she becomes her own person in this book, and she is very independent, so she doesn't do what I expected her to do, which is wonderful. She herself is lesbian. She recognizes herself as lesbian. It's not greatly advertised, but it is definitely clear in her preference and her attraction to women. But there's not really a couple or a relationship developed, but there is sort of an infatuation that she has with an older woman who dismisses her straight away and says it's not going to happen, but there is a connection there. So whilst it technically isn't a female couple, I'll probably have to read the 3rd book to find out where it goes, but definitely an interesting development and also awakening of a female who's discovering she is lesbian for the first time, and also having an infatuation with another woman who potentially, I believe, is bi. Alright, so this technically isn't really about a lesbian couple, but it is one of my favourite authors, and she has always written books that question male and female gender roles, stereotypes, thoughts, ideas, a very modern thinker. It's Virginia Woolf, and this particularly is Mrs. Dalloway. I think this is a wonderful representation. I also wanted to put this one up because I have read The Hours, and I thoroughly enjoyed The Hours, and it has a little bit more of Virginia Woolf's sexuality and lovers in that one. So this is, and it's very closely linked to Mrs. Dalloway. So she was a wonderfully inspirational reader for me when I was going through English literature. It really challenged my concept of gender in writing, and also moving away from the classic Victorian and Edwardian ideas of literature, where it's heavily developed and plot driven, to being almost within the mind and sensation. So Virginia Woolf is a wonderful author to get in if you really want to challenge yourself and challenge your reading. She only writes quite short novels, and it is really easy to sink into this one. It is a little bit disconcerting at first, but you honestly find this switch moment where you just fall into it. So I thoroughly recommend. Next we have one that I haven't read, and that is Kissing the Witch by Emma Donoghue. This is a collection of short stories, mainly fairy tale based, focusing around female main characters who go through different trials, adventures, many erotic experiences, and from all reports it is wonderful. It was mainly thrown in my direction from Jen Campbell. I absolutely love her poetry and short story collection, so definitely go check it out if you want some really interesting short literature. Now, whilst there is 5, I do have an honourable mention. This has been on my shelves, and it is something that I've been wanting to get to for a while. So it is Sarah Waters' Tipping the Velvet. This is an absolutely stunning cover. Obviously the clam being very symbolic of the female genitals and female sexuality in a way. So this is a beautiful addition. Not only that, but Tipping the Velvet and also Fingersmith are some of Sarah Waters' famous works. They not only include lesbian couples, romances and elements, but it is historical fiction set in the Victorian times, so where women were quite constricted to have this awakening and this freedom. So this is definitely going to be an honourable mention for today. I definitely want to read this one. If you have read any Sarah Waters, tell me where you think I should start. Should I start with Tipping the Velvet, because this definitely sounds really fascinating, or do you think I should go down the Fingersmith or the Night Watch? Alright, so I hope you enjoyed my top 5 Wednesday today. If you have any recommendations for me, or if you have a particular favourite loving ladies recommendation for me, please let me know, because whilst I do have a great diversity in reading male and male relationships, there's not much in the way of female relationships that I have on my shelves. So please recommend down below, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!